are these people?
What's on with Franco? And you mentioned the breaking point stuff. So we just published earlier this week our third article on breaking points in our third segment. We've got like probably two or three more. Um, but we analyzed James Lee and his channel, and I don't know if you had a chance to go through that yet. Um,
I have it up right now. I haven't read it yet.
oh,
I
sweet,
got 3 or 4 articles I got to read later today,
sweet.
but I will. I promise you.
Awesome. So no, I did a read through of it, and I saw that Chris Legion actually watch me do the reading and like kind of critiqued and commented on the article, and I haven't even had a chance to watch that, but it's we can see what they're doing and what they're trying to do again, and I can't repeat this enough, is they're trying to frame themselves as independent media while being aligned to corporate, for the most part, corporate, or at least to push people back toward the duopoly and not provide any alternative solutions, and to suck up the rest of the airspace so that people aren't talking about direct action. People aren't talking about general strikes. People aren't talking about worker strikes in general until they're already over and crushed by the corporation who's already made a deal with the heads of the union. Nobody's talking about corruption inside the union leadership and making sure that we're holding them accountable, and also that union leadership is not just going on speaking tours, for example. We've got to hold our own accountable, and a lot of times, the bigger people get, the less in touch they tend to stay with the people. It is something that you need to fight to do, to make sure that you're constantly talking to the workers in the street, in the stores that are, it sounds so silly, but we really just become so disconnected, especially in like a delivery, a lockdown type of world. California, I know that they're still actually having people locked down. It's nuts. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I just I don't want breaking points to be destroyed. I want them to join us. I want them to stop defending the Democratic Party. Nothing would make me happier than for them to turn on the squad and say, "Listen, we're going to use our channel for good. We're going to use it as a way to leverage the, 6 to 10 progressives that we put in there." Nothing would make me happier than Kalinsky and breaking points to all unite around that. And they won't do that because then they'd have to admit that Jimmy Dore was right. They won't do it. But beyond that, if they did that, I'd be like, oh shit, they're on our team now, because
Did
then they
you
have millions of subs that we can now, and views daily, that we can use as a way to leverage these people. But I do worry. There are breaking points as an example. I worry that what they are trying to do here is they understand that they are going to phase out the TV pundits. They're like mainstream media 2.0, with mainstream media with a software upgrade. But what they understand is, like, there's going to be 10 to 15 progressives that are in the House and the Senate that they will have access to if they just kind of tread water the way they're doing right now. As a lot of these older boomers in Congress either retire or die off or whatever, they will have a much better spot 5 years from now if they can just survive, because then they'll have access to all of these powerful people in Congress, and they'll have them on their shows and stuff like that. I think that's what they're trying to do. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would just try to maintain a little bit of, like, a lot of bit of grassroots influence, talk to the people, and get out there and do some activist events and use your channel to promote things like that. But you'll never see them doing like what we're doing tonight. They're never going to do, a live stream for an activist event, and if they do it, it'll be because we force them to. But yeah, I don't want them to go out of business. I want them to join us and to use their channels for leveraging politicians, doing direct action promotion, and mutual aid promotion. Nothing would make me happier than for Kalinsky to come out and be like, yeah, I founded the Justice Democrats, excuse me, but I don't want anybody to donate to them anymore. I'm going to use my channel as a way to starve them of donations as best I can. And he's got 1 million subs. So if he did that, I'd be like, okay, cool, man, you're off the shit list. I'm not gonna make fun of you anymore. Finally, you're joining the party. A little bit late, 2 years late or 4 years late, whatever. And I suspect there will be a couple of them that do that. I think we need to keep you and me and this network we're building, we need to keep our pedal to the metal and forcing them to do that. There will be others that don't, and I think they'll eventually just kind of go extinct. Like Sam Cedar, he's never going to change his mind. He'll just join MSNBC one day and let the Majority Report die. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But nothing would make me happier than for those people to finally join us. But like I said, I don't think they're going to do that because they've already established publicly for like 2 years that Jimmy Dore has to be wrong about everything. And if they wanted to join us in doing this stuff, they'd have to admit that he was right. A lot of them are too prideful to do that. So we'll just have to see how it turns out. It's going to shake out over the next couple of years. And that old paradigm of like TYT and MSNBC, their days are numbered unless they upgrade in a real way, substantively. So we'll just have to see how it goes, man. And for people like you and me and the rest of this network, we just have to keep doing what we're doing. It's just a waiting game.
Yeah, yeah, and again, one of the other big things, and you talked about some of the strategies, even when we're going back to, it popped into my head about the Roe v. Wade thing that the Democrats could be doing, and I disagree with the filibuster thing. I think that that's a big mistake, honestly. If they enacted, even if they had the votes, I think that that's a huge mistake. They're about to lose Congress. Why would you give up your one leverage to be able to stop a legislation that you don't want to happen? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But what they could do is exert pressure on Manchin and Sinema both. They could strip committee assignments, they could strip funding, they could put all kinds of pressure on them locally. They could fund opponents, the primary challengers. They could also make sure that people that were challenging in their state, opponents of them, not just primarying them, but at lower levels had positions so that they could make decisions that would not necessarily benefit Manchin and or Sinema. And we know how corrupt Manchin is within West Virginia. And I think he used to be the governor. He's also a multi-millionaire within there. But there's plenty of people that they can support that are not Republican, by the way. We're not saying to run to Republicans. That's not what we're saying. We are, again, anti-duopoly in every way, shape, or the form. It's Indie News Network because we are independents. Labels are bad. Stay independent. You can see what it says on the ticker. But yes, MSNBC, Christopher, are a bunch of corrupt Ivy League neolibs who despise 99% of the country. If you don't live in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, and you don't think a certain way, but that's not even the case so much anymore. Look, half the people on that network are ex-Bush administration Republicans that are now quote unquote Democrats, which is hilarious. Or you've got ex-head of the CIA, John Brennan, or you've got what's his name, Jay Johnson. He goes on there regularly. But the other guy, is it Jeff Johnson? I can't think of that guy's name. My God, he's the worst. Just complete neolib trash. I mean, all of them. And completely agree with you there. I mean, this is not what left actually is. They don't represent the left, and that's part of the farce. And what happens right now is they're perpetrating this whole left-right thing entirely. So then, again, we are to the left of them, but by calling them left, where does that put us on their scale? The problem is it puts us nowhere, and they've already done that to more than 50% of the country, because as of April, there was a poll that showed that 54% of the country now identifies as neither Republican or Democrat, and that makes me happy. We need to be growing that because labels are bad. We have to stay independent, and the more independence that we have, people are going to have to vote on issues, and the politicians are going to have to come to us. Now, right now we live in an oligarchy, and they're coming to the donors and to the advertisers and to the bundlers that are funding their campaigns. And we've got to figure out a way to fix that. And again, this is what Reef and I talked about first: is before you can get yourself a Medicare for all, before you can get yourself really any of this stuff, any kind of substantial gun control legislation if you want it at all. You have to fix the broken Congress that's putting a wedge into making any legislation have any teeth and be good for the masses without providing a ton of pork to both the donor class and the corporations, which now are one and the same, thanks to corporations are people too, Mitt Romney, and before that, the Citizens United ruling, but not just that one, there were several.